You saw the highlights, not exactly how Carson Palmer, Hugh Jackson, maybe anybody in Raiders Nation drew it up. 3 interceptions in a 28-0 shutout loss at home to the Kansas City Chiefs. Richard Skinner, Caleb Miller, and Doug Pelfrey. First question for you, Skinny. Is it realistic to expect Carson Palmer, after sitting at home in California for 10 months, getting on a plane on Tuesday, to come in and play in a National Football League game with no OTAs?
Yeah, it would have been if he'd have been playing his first exhibition game, but not first regular game 5-6 weeks in when everybody else has played already. That's a lot to ask. And he looked rusty. I mean, his very first pass of the day, he short-hopped a guy. He looked like a guy that was really had no training camp. Was playing his first preseason game. He was not ready today, and that's where that whole Carson's going to start thing was really out of control. He's going to get better, but today he showed a ton of rust.
Caleb, Carson's a friend of yours, a former teammate. First of all, how excited were you to find out that he's going to continue his career again?
Well, my fantasy football league's name is Let Palmer Play, if that tells you anything. I mean, I was so pumped. I was so happy for him, and to see that the Bengals got so much in return for him. Everybody wins, so nobody can really be mad about what happened up to this point. Everything went well for both people, but I'm so glad to just see him be out there, be able to play again. He's a competitor. He wants to win. He said that, and that's why he chose to kind of move on. And as far as what's happened today, it's to be expected somewhat, maybe not 3 picks, but like exactly what Richard said, it's kind of like his first preseason game, excuse me, in some ways, and especially being the first with that team. It's kind of crazy to expect much more than what happened today from him.
Mike Brown finally took a deal that he couldn't refuse. He turned down all of those picks for Ricky Williams in '99. Then there was the situation with Chad, potentially those 2 first-rounders. Are you surprised that Mike decided to go for it and take potentially those 2 first-rounders, which is, I think by any objective account, incredible value for Carson Palmer?
Absolutely. I think a good deal, and actually Mike said this to me one time when I was doing a deal. He said it's always a good deal when both sides feel like they lost a little bit, but they won. I think from this trade, I think it's a good thing for Carson. I think it gives him a fresh start. He's on the West Coast. He's obviously a West Coast guy. I think it's good for the Bengals because obviously he wasn't into it here the last couple of years. So I think from everybody's perspective, I think it's a good trade. I was really shocked that Carson really that he got out the way he did. At the same time, I'm proud of Mike Brown for making the trade. It was a good win for everybody involved.
I guess the thing that bugs me about Mike Brown in this regard is the times that he makes any logical move is when it feels like he's backed into a corner by the fans. You go back to 2002, and I still remember that game. I was covering it for the Post. God rest the Post soul. But back in the Post days, they played New Orleans, and there couldn't have been 30,000 fans in the stands. And that was the year where he decided, all right, it's time to go outside the family, hire someone outside. He hires Marvin Lewis. Now the fans stopped coming again, and suddenly things worked out well, but he makes a logical football move. I think it's made in part because the fans stopped showing up. If he didn't make this move and it came out that he was offered what he was offered, he's already stupid. It would have been really, really stupid.
All right, Cedric Benson, the running back, he's going to miss the Seattle game with a suspension for off-the-field trouble. What are your thoughts on him? What are your thoughts on just his presence in that locker room and what he brings to this football team?
Well, I mean, I think Cedric brings a lot. I don't know how much he brings to the locker room, but I know on the field he brings a heck of a lot. I mean, watching back the film, I watched back all the offensive games up to this point, and when you watch what's positive about this offense is the run game is solid week in, week out for the most part, and he's the main reason because of it. Bart Scott's a good back. But he's always just making runs, making up the field. It's really good gains, and without him in the lineup, it's hard to see them being as successful, limited success they've had on offense for that to continue.
All right, we're going to look at the report card after Week 6, what you like about this team, what needs to improve when the Sports Authority rolls on as we come back here on Local 12.